Welcome to Tessera, a podcast by Tesseros. Here we're crafting life with tools and purpose. Through real stories, thoughtful tech, and practical strategies, we help you master the craftsmanship of your digital and everyday world. If you're looking for a clear place to start learning how to use AI, whether for work, home, or curiosity, this is your guide. Along with building resilient systems and carving space for creativity, we explore where transformation begins, one intentional step at a time. Hello, thanks for joining me. This episode, we're talking about 5 different ways that I've used AI recently at home and at work as a tool to help me through everyday life with a bit more clarity and calm. One of the things that I did is in our local newspaper, we had a schedule of events coming out for the Christmas season. And I'm very much the kind of person that if something is not in my calendar, I completely forget it exists. So what I did was I took out my phone and used the ChatGPT app, the camera feature, to take a picture of the newspaper schedule. And I said, please turn this into a Google Calendar import file. I'd like to review the file information before I download it. And then that way I was able to take a look through and make sure that it caught all of the information correctly when it was transcribing, but also there's small things like matinee at noon, doors open at 11. What time would you like the event to start? So I was able to go through and make those edits. And then I could say, excellent, please give me a file I can download and import to Google Calendar. So it gave me the file, downloaded it, went to Google Calendar, imported it, week's worth of events set up in about 2 to 3 minutes. If I was doing that manually, it probably would have taken 10 to 12 if I did it and then even remembered during the season what events were coming up. Another one that I did was my child came home from school really excited because his friend's birthday party was tomorrow, but he didn't have a physical invite. And I wasn't positive if he was actually invited to the birthday party or not. And so I was trying to figure out how I can frame a text to the mother to confirm whether he should be there. So I asked ChatGPT, hey, my son thinks he's invited to your child's birthday party, but he says it's tomorrow. He didn't receive a physical invite. Can you please let me know? Totally understand if the guest list is different this year. And so ChatGPT gave me a version that I was able to text to the mother. Well, it actually gave me 3, but I was able to pick the one and kind of make it how it needed to be for me. Hi, quick question about your child's birthday. My son is convinced he's invited to a party tomorrow, but we never saw an invite come home. Can you let me know if there is a party and whether he's on the list this year? Absolutely no problem. If not, I just want to clear up any confusion on our side. So it kind of took some of the stress out of what I was worried might be an awkward conversation, either for me or for her. And he was invited. They get to go bowling, so that was really exciting. A third thing that I've used it for is meal planning. So the prompt that I put in was, I'm struggling with my meal preparation right now. Everybody feels like they're in a mood where they just want food, but they don't really care what it is. By the time evening comes along, I'm not feeling like cooking, and I feel like we're just in a little rut where we're having a hard time making meals because nothing feels interesting. And so I've told it in the past that I have a slow cooker, a pretty well-stocked freezer. I gave it some of the information that we've had in our fridge not that long ago, as well as our pantry. And so it gave me a rotation of slow cooker ideas, breakfast for dinner, some sheet pan meals. And so that was really helpful to kind of give me an idea of what can I do right now. And then after that, I took out a variety of meats and put them in the fridge so that during the week things would start thawing. And then on the day that came up, if the meal that it gave me didn't look interesting or like what I felt like, I could say, here's the meat that I have available for tonight. Can you suggest a recipe for me? So that kind of helped to get us through this past week. And now we'll have to do a little bit more planning to figure out what we want to do for the next 5 days. We're only here for a partial week next week before we get to go visit some family in Calgary. For work, I've been doing things a little bit differently recently. So I have the paid version of ChatGPT, and I've started using the free version of Gemini a fair bit more frequently. And what I like is that they talk in different voices, but also a lot of the courses and kits and things I'm developing, I'm primarily by myself during the day. And then my partner is also my co-founder for the business. And so we work together in the evenings, but I do a lot of the drafting by myself. And sometimes it's very hard if you're the only person looking at your materials to really get different points of view because you have your point of view. And one of the things that is great about ChatGPT is also one of the things that's really hard is that once you train it to act in a certain way, it acts in a certain way, and trying to get alternate points of view requires a little bit of extra mental effort. And so going over to Google Gemini was a really good way for me to be able to give it the materials that I was developing and ask it to proofread and basically give me its thoughts. Is this a good idea? Is this going to come across in the way that I want? And I find that Google Gemini is a lot more business focused in how it words things and how it pulls together its ideas, whereas ChatGPT tends to be a lot more social. And so between the two, it's been a good kind of check and balance for me to go through and come up with new ideas. One of the parts that I'm working on right now is figuring out what kind of a schedule I want to make and what kind of courses I want to put together. And so what I did for both ChatGPT and Google Gemini was at ChatGPT, it's at the project level because I have a business project set up. And so in the project notes, I have in kind of details about my business, what I want to do. But then I've also attached the different kits that I've made and my brand documentation of how I want my company to act, essentially. And then in Gemini, I, again, attached in the conversation, because I don't have the paid version there, the 2 different kits that I've completed, as well as my branding documentation, and then told it I was looking to create kind of a schedule of content. And so brainstormed some different ideas on courses that I wanted to make and how to prioritize the courses that I want to make with things that people are searching for actively right now. And then from there, I was able to use both systems kind of in parallel to come up with the content for my first draft of the course that I want to make. And that saved me so many hours, because trying to start from a blank page is so much harder than having something that you want to edit. And so I was able to kind of go back and forth, come up with a first draft, then a second draft, got module 1 set up, and then walked away and went, that's not really quite the way that I want to do it. I want to shape it in a different direction. The amount of work that would have taken me in the past to pull all that together for draft, what is essentially a new draft 1, to then scrap it and go, none of that is the direction that I actually want, would have, it took a lot of hours as it was, but it would have been at least triple. Whereas working through with both of them, getting different perspectives, gave me that foundation to then step back and say, okay, is this what I want to build? What do I like? What's missing? How do I want to shape this to make sure that it is my voice that is coming through and the things that I really believe are important? And so I found that to be an incredibly useful strategy, using the 2 to kind of balance off of each other and help me brainstorm and kind of come up with the ideas of, is it doing what I want to do? Another one that I've used ChatGPT for very recently is helping me wireframe ideas for some of the different kits that I want to do. So I will literally ask it, can you help me wireframe a kit around the idea of, and this most recent one I'm looking at is choosing positivity. And so wireframe is like a course outline. And so I would get it to give me ideas of different things that I could shape it and go back and forth. My kits have kind of a 4 focus structure, and so I want to keep that in this new positivity course. And so it gave me some ideas to think through. And then I was able to say, okay, let's brainstorm our 4 focus areas. And so it gave me a selection, and I went, maybe instead of focusing on positivity, I want to focus on happiness. And in the past, I've had other conversations where we talked about the happiness equation being positivity plus agency equals happiness. And so what if I have a kit that's focused on that? And then within that, my 4 kind of core parts of what I would be talking about would be a positivity, a positive mindset, your personal agency, energy support. So how do you protect and replenish your inner capacity? And meaningful moments, noticing and experiencing happiness as it happens. So that's kind of what I've been working through with some of those first sets of pillars. But being able to have someone to talk to and brainstorm with and figure out exactly how you want to frame your work has been incredibly valuable for me. I think that's 5. I hope that this was useful to you. I am so glad that you joined me today. I would love to try a mini challenge at the end of each episode. And so this week we'll do Pick Your Piece. What's one tiny task in your home or work life that always feels annoying or time consuming? Write it down. This week, try asking your phone, computer, or AI assistant if there's a faster way. That's it. That's your first piece in your mosaic. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening to Tessera. If this episode sparked an idea or helped you forge a new path, we'd love to hear it. Tessera is built by community. Send us your questions, feedback, or stories about how you're using AI and technology to simplify your life. Email us at hello@tesseros.com or leave a review on the app where you're listening right now. And if you know someone who's looking to craft their life a little bit differently, please share this episode with them. You can find all episodes, show notes, and extras at tesseros.com/tessera and subscribe through your preferred podcast app. Until next time, keep placing the pieces that matter.